Well, not everyone's happy with the idea of Schultz running for president, including the current occupant of the White House. No surprise there. Yahoo Finance's Julia LaRoche is here. So, Julia, what overall has the reaction been to this?
Well, it's been overwhelmingly negative, Alexis. If you look at the tweet and then the responses to the tweet, there are more than 27,000 when I last checked. And many of those responses are negative, telling him do not do it. Now, President Trump tweeted moments ago, Howard Schultz doesn't have, quote, the guts to run for president. Watched him on 60 Minutes last night. And I agree with him that he's, quote, not the smartest person. Besides, America already has that. I only hope that Starbucks is still paying me their rent in Trump Tower. Now, there are some nasty responses that I cannot repeat here on air, but we are hearing from folks from the Democratic Party. Now, Kevin Cruz, he's a historian. He says, I am an American political historian, and I can assure you that the only thing you will accomplish by running for president as a centrist independent is helping re-elect Donald Trump. Now, Alexis, that is the big fear, is that that Schultz running as an independent would only take votes away from whoever the Democratic candidate is and hand a re-election to President Trump. Renato Mariotti, he is a CNN legal analyst. He says, please don't. Our nation faces a serious crisis due to actions of Donald Trump, and you would split the vote against him.
Yeah, that seems to be echoed across many in the Democratic Party for sure. You cover Starbucks. You've interviewed Schultz a number of times. You just finished reading his new book. Any revelations there that could help with a presidential run? Yeah,
you know, Alexis, it's interesting because Howard Schultz is a lifelong Democrat. He admired Robert F. Kennedy, and in his book, there was one passage that really stood out to me when maybe his mindset would have changed, his disenchantment with the Democratic Party, if you will. And that was in the summer of 2011, and you recall that was the debt ceiling debate, and that he found that there's a lot of political gamemanship, and he did write as Americans, he says, I personally cannot sit on a couch and watch the news or run a company while society erupts or walk into some form of retirement and be still. On the sidelines is not where most of us want to be. So there you go. There you have it.
All right, Julia LaRoche this morning, thank you. Want to get Andy Serwer's thoughts on all this. Is Schultz a legitimate candidate here? What does he bring to the table that, I don't know, about a dozen other candidates don't?
All right, I mean, he's a business person with a lot of money, so, you know, not tied to the parties, fair enough. But I think Julia's spot on when she says that it would probably ensure that Donald Trump was reelected because it would take votes away from a Democratic candidate. I mean, all you have to do is look at George H.W. Bush running against Clinton with Ross Perot. Another even more recent example is in the state of Maine, where Governor Paul LePage won not only once but twice, and he was very much of a Trump-like candidate. There was a Democratic candidate and an independent, and they split the left-wing centrist Democratic vote, and LePage was elected and elected again. The other point I want to make is I was in Davos talking to some key Democratic strategists, and they were not necessarily so keen on Howard Schultz, and this was unprompted before he made this announcement, saying that he's not presidential timber, that he would be unable to stand up to Trump in a debate, which I thought was very interesting. And the other thing they were saying to me, by the way, which is kind of an interesting point, was these two strategists were for Biden until proven otherwise. In other words, they say, let's just make sure that Trump doesn't get reelected, and Biden's the guy to do it. Now, if Beto O'Rourke or Kamala Harris is good enough to win, we'll go with them. But for now, they're taking their lot with Biden.
Now there's talk maybe Clinton, Hillary, thinking about it again?
I think that would not work for the Democrats very well. And I think Trump would be delighted to see Hillary run again. And I think he'd be delighted, quite honestly, that tweet notwithstanding, to see Howard Schultz run as a third candidate. I think Trump would like that.